Hi guys, Hamster here. I want to share a little tip with you guys, something that I use that may make it easier to do an upgrade on your Sig. What I have here is my Sig 226. It's a very nice handgun, very happy with it. Works quite well. It didn't always used to be as nice as it is now. It has the short reset trigger kit installed in it, which makes the trigger much nicer. Um, it's pretty easy to install. It's something everyone can do themselves, and I think it's something everyone will benefit from once it is installed. I think you'll really like it. I'll show you a quick example of the Sig without the short reset trigger, and then I'll show you an example of this Sig with the reset trigger, and I'll show you a trick to make it a lot easier to install. Now this one here has the short reset trigger in it. Now this Sig here does not. This 226 does not have the short reset trigger. And what do I mean by short reset? When the trigger resets, it's how long the trigger has to move before it resets. Now this gun is safe, no magazines, no ammunition. I'm going to show you the difference in these two triggers. Here if I can here on camera. So we have here, when you pull the trigger, this is in double action, trigger breaks, the action would have to cycle. When you release the trigger, this is the point where it resets. Let me see if I can show you as well as possible here. As it's letting off the trigger, you'll hear a click when the trigger resets. Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Still going. Still going. Still going. Still going. Click. The trigger is just reset. Now you have quite a bit of take up before the trigger is ready to break again. So now I got to take the slack out, taking the slack out, taking the slack out, still taking slack out. A little more slack, a little more slack. Finally, I'm right there at the wall where the trigger is ready to break. And now I can break the shot. That's what a standard trigger looks like. Now let me show you what it looks like when you have the short reset trigger in here. This one has the short reset trigger. Okay, it's on double action. I'm pulling. I break the shot. The action will cycle. I'll let off the trigger so the trigger resets. You just barely let out. Click. Right there. And now, any slack? Nope. No slack. It's ready to go again. You barely pull on it. Trigger breaks cleanly. You can see how much shorter that is right there. You just barely let off, and it's right when it resets, it's ready to fire again. It's really nice. Now let me pull this apart, and I'll show you. There's only one pin and 4 parts you got to deal with in changing this out real quick. So let me just lock this back, pull the slide off. Now the kit for your 226, this would be the part number. It comes with 2 parts. It comes with a safety lever and a sear. Okay, and it's all on one pin. I'll show you right here. This pin here that can be pushed out from either side. Let me zoom this in a little bit right now. Make it a little bit easier. See if we can do this. Get this on camera. Okay. You have 4 items right in here in a line, and they're held with one pin. You can see here the pin on this side, and you turn it over here, you can see the pin on this side. Now this pin can be pushed out or in from either side. It doesn't really matter. You can push it either way. What you need to do this job though are basically a couple tools. A nice long punch. This is a 3/32 punch. You need this, and then possibly a small ball peen hammer. So this here is probably just a couple ounce hammer, small ball peen hammer, 3/32 punch. The punch ideally needs to be long enough to go through the frame of the pistol, because you'll want to push that pin out, but then also you'll want to assemble everything with the punch, and that will hold everything together. And then when you got everything held together, you take the pin, reinsert it, slowly pushing the punch out, and then you're set. The whole key and the part that makes this tricky is the spring and the spring tension. So here you have here's the 4 items. Here you have the safety lever, which sits right here. You have the sear, which sits right here. You have the sear spring that sits down in the sear, and then you have the ejector right here. So the ejector, sear spring nestled in the sear. The shaft goes through this, and the safety lever, and this all will come out. The sear or the ejector is also held by another pin right here, so you don't even have to actually take it out. It will sit right there on this pin, and this pin is what we also load the sear spring onto. That's where you got to load, and it puts the tension on the sear spring. Now if you drive this pin out with the sear spring under tension, it's going to want to jump out on you. You may damage it, you may lose it. If you remove the tension on the spring, it's super easy just to push the pin out, pop the new parts in, including the spring, push the pin in, then reload the spring. Now the thing I like to use to do the spring is a tamper-proof screwdriver bit. This will fit in a standard multi-bit screwdriver. It has 2 little prongs on it. It's designed for installing and removing tamper-proof screws. But the design of it works perfectly for springs because it allows you to capture that spring and allows you to put vertical movement up and down on the spring, but it also captures it and allows you to put lateral movement on the spring. So a simple tamper-proof screwdriver bit, which you can pick up at most hardware stores, pop in your screwdriver, and it allows you to make this job much easier. Let me see if I can show you guys on camera how to deal with this spring. So you can see the spring right here, how it's under tension. This leg is under that little pin. What you need to do is come in with your tamper-proof screwdriver bit, come in here, grab that spring, push down on it, and then slowly move it to the side, and then slowly let it back up. Now you can see right there, I've released all the tension on that spring. So now that spring is just free in the wind, will sit right there. Now these parts are just sitting here with no tension on this pin. This pin could easily be slid out, swap out the 2 parts. The only 2 parts you change are the safety lever and the sear. You reuse the sear spring and you reuse the ejector. Then once you've put these pieces in, put the pin in, make sure the pin is centered, you need to reload the spring, and that's where this tool comes handy, this tamper-proof bit. You come in, you grab that spring, you're able to capture that. Let me see if I can make sure I get this. You can push down on the spring and then walk the spring over just enough to get under that pin and then walk it right back over. And now the spring is reloaded with tension on it. It's that easy. So if you use a number 9 tamper-proof bit, it's so easy to take the tension off and put the tension back on that spring, and then it makes this a really easy kit, a really simple task. But the reward is outstanding. Let me back this back out a little bit. Put this back together. And that's all there is to doing that. And then you wind up with the short reset trigger. I'll show you again. Trigger breaks, cycle the action, reset, ready to break again. Totally different than the standard Sig trigger. So that's the Sig short reset trigger kit. The other thing you may notice on this is running the threaded barrel. This is actually the Mark 25 barrel. This is a really nice barrel. It's threaded, but it also is a hammer forged barrel. It's chrome line and phosphated for corrosion protection. That is an outstanding product. If you're looking for that, let's see, this is the part number right there. It's a BBL-MK25-T. You could pick this up from Sig. This dropped right in my Sig, no problem. So that's the Mark 25 barrel with the short reset trigger kit. Other than a good set of sights, this will make a good Sig a whole lot better and a lot more enjoyable to shoot, and give you a little bit more function with the Mark 25 barrel. So that's the short reset trigger kit. It's something you can quite easily do. These kits are kind of pricey. You get 2 small items. It's $50 for the kit. Shop around, you might be able to get no tax and free shipping. But it's a simple 1-pin Basically 2 tools, a hammer, 3/32 punch. But the whole key to making it real easy is get a tamper-proof bit. This is a number 9. This is a 2-sided bit. You can get them in 1-sided or 2-sided, but the number 9 is pretty small and works really well for doing that spring. You won't damage the spring. You won't lose the spring. Unwinding the spring, taking the tension off before you pull the pin out makes it so much easier. Put it all together. When you got it together, then you can just, you know, wind that spring up and put the tension back under it, and everything works fine. So number 9 tamper-proof makes that that job super easy. So this is something I use and makes my life a lot easier. So highly recommend the short reset trigger kit, and the Mark 25 barrel is an outstanding barrel. Like I said, it's a hammer forged, chrome line, phosphate coated, you know, threaded, and it comes with thread protector. So definitely snag one of those if you have an opportunity. So, but the tamper-proof bit is the hot ticket for doing the SIGs. Makes it super simple. Even here on camera, I was able to undo and do that spring fairly easy. So hope that helps you guys. Thanks for watching.